He's starting with back in the days, William Gallas. When he got the captain armband, you know, his fortunes plummeted. You know, we talk about likes of Permet Saka, Laurent Koscielny. You know, you talk about Francis Isol Fabregas, Mikel Arteta himself.
Yeah.
The moment he got the captain armband, his stocks drastically fell. I remember the story of Granit Xhaka. Well, he cursed out at the fans. And here's Aubamenyang.
And I think they're getting to a point, not just the captains, I think they have a way of having issues with their best players. Also the best players, beyond the captains, the best players. There's something fundamentally for me wrong with the stakes in Arsenal, the way they're functioning right now. This is a problem, especially on that Arteta. You can give a name of these players that had issues and had to leave the club. And now it's Aubameyang. But the question is, who would be the next captain?
Yeah.
That's a big question.
No.
Because you seem to have issues with all the big guys who were supposed to be the captain. And you can't rotate the captain back to the likes of Xhaka.
Yeah, now let's talk about something. In as much as would be quick to talk about the officials or talk about the hierarchy of the football club and how they treat their senior players or their star players, in your words now. Have the players cover themselves in glory with the way they behave and the way they go about doing business as leaders in such a big club like Arsenal?
The first question for me would be, what is usually the issue? The foundation of answering the question.
Well, the issues are, you know, are far and reaching. For instance, for the likes of Permet Saka, the likes of Mikel Arteta, the likes of Thomas Vermaelen, it wasn't about disciplinary issues. It was basically about form and fitness. The moment they took that captain armband, their form plummeted. Look at, for instance, Permet Saka made just 14 appearances for the Gunners in 2 massive years since he was handed the captain armband.
He also had some injuries.
Yeah, that was basically it. Injuries, 14 appearances. He
had some injuries.
That was because of injury.
Let's look at
Mikel Arteta, when he was club captain, made how many? Made 7 appearances in well over 36 games for the Gunners as club captain. No indisciplined record, but that was down to injury.
Okay. I want to share an opinion of mine concerning Arsenal as a club and a system in English football. This is what I think happens when you have some of these big names. I remember William Gallas moving from Chelsea to Arsenal. He wants Arsenal to play in a certain way. He's outspoken, he talks. And what happens? They booted him out. We see. I'm going to narrow to Aubameyang. I'll narrow to Aubameyang.
Well, I'm not sure that was the story with William Gallas.
It was part of it.
Well, I'm not very sure. I remember a game very strikingly against Birmingham City. You know, his teammate made a mistake, and of course, on the pitch of play, he was screamed his head out, and of course, at the end of that particular game, ordered a sitting at the Andrews Park. Didn't leave, talked down the players right in front of the fans. Same thing Phil Brown did while he was Hull City manager in a similar Premier League game against Crystal Palace. You don't do that as a leader.
Calm down, Brad. Calm down, Brad.
Yeah.
Let me drive the point. Look, when Arsenal picks these players to be captain, they'll pick a leader. And most times these are players who have a desire to win, who are pushing for it. And it's usually so frustrating for these leaders where they don't see the system, things changing in the system. They're playing in certain ways. They're accepting defeat when they're not supposed to. For me, it's part of the problem. It could be frustrating for these players. Look at Aubameyang when Aubameyang became a captain. Exceptional footballer, scoring goals after the contract. We've seen he's not being the Aubameyang we've always known. He's not scoring many goals. But no matter how you want to look at it, Arsenal's performance is plummeted.
Well, let me finish. Blyden, I don't quite get the story.
Let me finish.
No, let's look at something now, very strikingly. Now, do you cut the player some slack, or do you make an excuse for the player because he's run out of desire? So, in a young squad like Arsenal, where a lot of those young lads are looking up to the skipper and looking up to the captain, Aubameyang in this instance, you feel you can't win with Arsenal, but you're okay getting £250,000 every Monday morning, but you feel you can't give your best for the club. You turn up late for trainings, you turn up late for match conferences, and of course team briefings, and you turn up late for matches. Is there any excuse for that?
For me, if you want to narrow it down to just Aubameyang, what happened in this particular case? What was the problem?
Indiscipline.
That's the overall usage indiscipline.
No,
but Aubameyang traveled officially.
It's not a story of once. Well, the story is that Aubameyang's mom was sick, was ill, and then he was given time to travel go see the mom, all right? And then you were told a time to return. You absolutely know the time to return, so you could meet up with pre-match issues and of course be a part of training in the build-up to the game. But you turned up late. It's not the first time. Aubameyang went to Milan Fashion Week. He came back late. Milan Fashion Week. It had nothing to do with football, right? Aubameyang went to Paris Fashion Week. Turned up late. I can tell you 5 instances where he's gone to events unrelated to football, and as a result of the extracurricular, if I'm to use that word now, he turns up late to his primary duty and assignment, which is playing football. What gives you the fame and fortune to walk those runways and be at those venues, and you are applauded as Aubameyang. This is a sport and this is a football club that pays you every single week.
Right, James. I understand what you're saying. I'm not
sure you understand.
I do. I'm not excusing players for indiscipline.
Yeah.
I'm not excusing players for bad behavior.
All right.
No, that's not my point. I'm looking at it from why are players in Arsenal having these bad behaviors? Why not in Chelsea? Why not in Manchester United? What is the core problem that these players begin to act the way they're acting? That's my question. And for me, I tilt it to a systemic problem in Arsenal. Especially when you have a leader. And you want this leader, you pick up a good player and say, oh, you're leading the team. But you're not encouraging them to be where they ought to be. There's a systemic problem in Arsenal. The mentality of the team is bad. And in the long run, it becomes frustrating for a lot of these players, and it gets to a point you begin to have these issues in club.
I said
let me say this. Let me say this. You have issues in this club by players. I'm really concerned about players picking up, players acting in aggressive ways, because it's something that happen to anybody, based on the frustration they go through. As for indiscipline, it's a totally different thing for me. If a player is indisciplined, measures ought to be taken about that.
Yeah, one has been taken. It's the story of Captain Aubamenyang, but well, no intent to be too hard on Aubameyang. You know, he's had his fair share of struggles and troubles with injury. You know, he's talked about ambition, and of course, he's had his fair share of issues with COVID-19. Form has plummeted, and with all of this family issues he's going through, the fans are putting pressure on him week in, week out, and he's just only human. Yes, there's got to be that break point in your life, but as a leader, this is definitely inexcusable. Now, we'll leave Aubameyang for